I'm Sheila. I've been volunteering at the Foundling Museum for, I think, 6 years now. And the object I have chosen is this roundel of Christ Hospital. And I've chosen it because I was a pupil there. And it feels timely now that the pandemic is set to put back gender equality, to look at this, which is the earliest girls' school in the country. But I also want to unpick the history of Christ Hospital to explain why it deserves a place in the courtroom decor, which is so pivotal to the fundraising activity of the hospital. And the purpose of the roundels was to raise this young institution's profile and to show that it was worthy of financial and, I suppose, other support, but mainly financial, like the other charitable London institutions, some of which had existed for centuries. It's rather beautiful, for one thing, and there's a huge shadow in the middle of this picture. And you can see a Christ Hospital blue coat boy here. He seems to be taking money, which might be for guiding people around London, which is something that the children did. But there is also a figure of a girl. And at the time, there were girls. It was an educational establishment. It was different from the Foundling. It was to educate. But there were about 50 girls in London, and there were hundreds of boys. And the girls, as in so much else, were gradually being squeezed out of London, and they ended up in Hertford, which was where I went. And it was at that time, when I was a pupil there in the 60s, still quite a Spartan atmosphere. And some of the skills that the girls had had to learn, which did include reading the Bible, but also included sewing, was still taught with great seriousness, because at the time of this roundel, the girls were producing the entire linen for the whole school, for every single boy. I think that's rather extraordinary. But it did remain very much a charitable institution. We were clothed from the skin out, which was kind of scary and horrible, and I think must have some resonance for people who were at the Foundling Hospital, that, you know, you did have this sort of identity confusion, perhaps, because that's quite an odd thing to do to a child. We obviously had parents and we went home for holidays and we were being educated, but some of this charity and this sort of gratitude for charity lingered on in a way that I can see it also existed for children at the Foundling Hospital, and actually anyone who accepts any charity. And, you know, I am very grateful for it, but, you know, it's not great to endlessly be grateful, particularly when you're an adolescent.